Mr. Horseman is not here. Mr. Stogstad here, and Ms. Naylor.
Right.
Everybody got a chance to look at the minutes. They'll stand approved unless there are some corrections. We have no visitors right now, and so we'll move right in. We have the first one. So So we've got the assessment office. We have none above $2,500 for a total of,
$2,030.07.
and then we also have the GIS department, none above $2,500 for a total of,
$839.32.
fantastic. Jennifer?
Good morning.
Morning.
So the 2021 assessment changes are complete and the file has been turned over to the Sauk Valley newspaper for publishing and mail services to prepare for the notices for mailing. With it being Dixon and Palmyra, the township's revalue years, the parcel count is rather large, so the newspaper needed the file approximately 3 weeks before the publishing date. So that's pushed our publication to November 17th. But other than that, everything's on track. We just had to push that publishing date out a week. We're sticking with our core staff right now through the board of review season. It's not realistic for us to look into interviewing and training an employee at this time. So we're down 2 employees in our assessment office right now, but we're going to power through with our core staff, and I'm heavily relying on them right now. Carmen Bowman is currently a GIS department of 1. She's been doing a phenomenal job at stepping in and keeping the GIS projects going. The 2 most prominent projects at this time are elections, is working on their redistricting, and Carmen has been working closely with them to keep them at keep that process going. And 911 is getting ready to make their Motorola Flex project. That's been a huge project that's been ongoing for quite some time, and that is going to be going live right after Thanksgiving. So she's been quite involved in that. So those are the 2 big projects for GIS right now. We've signed a contract with Sidwell to help out with some GIS things for overflow projects or questions and support for GIS right now. And we're working collaboratively with them. We just had a kickoff conference with them Friday. And we are not looking to hire another GIS staff person at this time until the dust settles a bit. So Carmen and I are working through exactly what the needs are there. So we are trudging forward. Any questions?
No questions? Thank you. I know your office is having a tough time right now, but we'll get through it.
Right, thank you.
Moving forward to county board chairman or the county board general. There are none above $2,500. So just read that bottom number.
$2,725.26.
Perfect. Moving on to the clerk and recorder. I've got a couple here. The first one, we do have one over. And we'll sign it. Jack will help you with that.
Oh, claim of vendor number 3785 GBS against Lee County for an election expense, account number 001-025-530-202 in the amount of $25,971.56.
Yep. And then what's our total? And then she mark that down.
Yeah, once you write this,
Yeah.
once you write that, we're gonna read that. For a grand total of everything.
Okay. So that's a grand total of 26,697.71.
Perfect. That's all yours too. I know it goes with it. Moving into account number 009, there's nothing over $2,500 grand total.
$100.26.
And moving into account number 010 in the recorder, nothing over $2,500 for a total of.
$1,571.34.
Fantastic.
Good morning. Just giving you an update on my office downstairs in election with redistricting. That's pretty much on hold right now. They're working as much as they can. There's several lawsuits that are still out there. So they're telling me end of December. So it's going to come in very, very close with January polling petitions. So it's very frustrating, but our hands are folded, locked, whatever with that. Carmen has been a great bit of help with the girls trying to get as far as they can. So that means, like you said, right now, we have no idea if the county board lines will move or stay the same. So there's just a lot of question marks. So hopefully they'll get moving along with that for us. And then the tax sale was the end of October. So my office is very busy with that. They had 538 parcels that were sold at the tax sale. So my recording side, Tina works on a lot of the paperwork for that. So that's what's going on there. 538 total parcels were sold at now again, over half,
313 were Woodhaven properties.
so 313 were Woodhaven properties. So it's a pretty good number. Small, I guess I should say. With that. And then I just have later on in the meeting, I'm talking about the update on the election equipment. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Nancy, we've got a couple. Moving on to the IT department, I have 3 over $2,500 here.
Oh, claim of vendor number. No. Oh. Claim of ProVantage LLC against Lee County. Invoice 909-6401 in the amount of $4,173.75. Okay. I say different. Okay. That one. Okay. And then Dell Marketing against Lee County. $992. Dell Marketing against Lee County for the amount of $8,601.58. And the name of DevNet against Lee County for the amount of $12,112.52. Grand total in the amount of $32,122.18.
Fantastic. Paul, you want to give a report?
Thank you. Thank you very much. We're still continuing to work on support tickets. We're up to 907 since instituted the policy or the programming at end of February. So I expect within a year's time, we'll easily have over 1,000 support tickets and an increasing number of projects. As you've heard, the Motorola Flex safety, public safety system rollout has a hard firm rollout of just after Thanksgiving. They have a soft rollout just before then. And we're continuing to support that as last minute modifications get made. And we're also working with the various departments on a variety of projects. But as you'll note on the invoices there are charges for new computers, which we're moving ahead on Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrades for some very, very, very old computers in the county. And we also, per some insurance guidelines, beefing up the battery backup units at workstations and in our network closets. And you'll see one of those charges on there too. So we're continuing to move ahead on basic workstation and network upgrades, planning on substantial infrastructure upgrades in 2022, and continuing to support the individual support tickets and support issues and projects. Any questions for me at this time?
Where are we at with the computers for county board members? I know that's the direction that we want to go sooner than later.
Well, we don't know if you have computers or tablets. You're going to be offered a choice of pricing on that.
Get one. So as I talk, I believe anyways that you get one choice as a county. That way you've only got to deal with one problem, whether it be a tablet or a laptop.
I'm not talking about individual choices and choosing the board will have to choose which route that they go.
I think we're looking at you for which route you would suggest to go.
My recommendation will pass through Wendy with that, the finance, based on the pricing of it. Personally, I think laptops with touchscreens would be the way to go, but I believe the cost difference between that and tablets with touchscreens will be significant, nearly twice as much of more. So you may have sticker shock at my recommendation. And my second recommendation would be tablets, which are actually the recommended device or very well supported device by the vendor in question. So,
And that's going to be probably $400 per tablet compared to $1,200 per laptop.
No, and I don't want to, I'm still pulling together the final numbers for Wendy right now. So,
Okay.
and I should have those today though, but no, but the basic tablet without any case or anything else is just about 400, but you'll need a couple extra battery backups. You'll need something else and you need a case for them. So it'll increase the price, but then the equivalent laptop will be at least twice as much, if not 3 times as more, if you want a touch screen on it. And so running those quotes through Wendy later today. So, and it's Wendy's been on me on this, so don't fault Wendy for the delay on it. You can point the finger at me on this one.
Just call me a nag.
So
No, you're not a nag. You're doing your job.
the big thing is, I think we want to go with whatever we go with. We don't want like Ms. Allen to have a tablet and Bill to have a computer. We want everybody to have the same thing. If you don't want that, whatever is offered by the county, go buy your own. That's kind of how it needs to be handled.
Well, that would cause problems for me because I like having control over the devices, and if somebody else owns it, I don't think they want me mucking around in their computer because I would pretty much lock it down. So,
Well, and this is I'm going to use my phone. If it's a web-based application, I can sign in from my phone. I'm good there. That's one less thing I got to carry. So, and that's
you could, and I know people that I would talk to people that use the service on a phone versus a tablet versus a computer and see how comfortable you'll be. But I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, and it's supported. It's certainly supported. So.
Perfect. I just wanted to make sure that was on the radar because I know it's something that we want to get done.
It certainly is.
Perfect. Any other questions for Paul? Okay, moving on. We
Thank you.
have the Treasurer's Department, line number 012 for the County Collection Automation Fund. It is over 2,500. We only have one,
$2,516.
and that was to
Oh, I'm sorry.
tax Joseph Myers.
There we go. Yeah. Joseph E. Meyer Associates for programming, $2,516. Just the same. Yeah. I didn't think this could be-
Moving on to tourism, everything's above $2,500, but that's it's split right there.
So Lee County Tourism for $7,415.54. City of Dixon for $7,415.54 for a total of $14,831.08.
Moving on to civic systems, which is coming out of capital.
So we have contract software, civic systems, $17,450.
And that's the only one in capital. I have one coming out of the jail fund, 050. It's below 2,500. It's $475, just that one by itself. So,
$475.
Yep. And last but not least, coming out of the general fund, they're all below $2,500 for a total of
$3,285.14.
Chris, well, as Nancy kind of pointed out, our tax sale was October 27th, which kind of symbolizes the final season for property tax collection. Our final distribution for those to go out to the 94 different taxing bodies that we take care of here in the county will happen probably next week. In the office over the season, we collected a little over $70 million. So that's all, but maybe 3 million of that has been distributed already.
fantastic. Any additional questions for the treasurer's office or Paul? Thanks, Paul. Moving on to ROE. We have all of them are below $2,500 for a total of
$1,615.02.
Chris, you want to give a report?
Sure, thank you. By statute, I need to report to all three county boards an annual report of our activities for the office. If it's okay with the committee, and I think it already is in Whiteside County, I'm hoping it will be in Ogleville. If I do them quarterly, rather than all of you just wait to get a big number of statistics at the end of the year. So what I've done is I've given you the quarterly report from July 1st of this year through the end of September with some statistics on the things that we've taken care of at our office. You can see that we've been pretty busy, and a lot of times people don't always know everything that we're responsible for. So you can see in that 54 employees, you can see that's part-time and full-time. We have a number of part-time employees that we've had to hire with all the grants that we've been awarded through our office. So we are responsible for doing criminal background checks on educators. You can see that we're responsible for truancy. We've had a number of referrals to our Safe School program, and I'll highlight that a little bit later in my November report. And some of the other things that we're responsible for, we have to approve the district's treasurer bonds. I just was down in Springfield last week and I had to hand deliver our district's annual financial reports. They're required to flow through our office. I look them over, check off on them, and then I drive them down to ISB and those were to be into me already. We do have a number of districts that don't get them done because of their auditing process. So they filed for an extension, and we granted that extension, and I will be taking them down in December. You can see that we've done a ton with our professional development through the month. And then a lot of people don't realize how busy we are with our teaching and educator licenses down on the bottom of the first page. You can see the number of educators that we've worked with this fall, helping them get their license renewed, or first-time educators to our county. And you can see that, the bottom three, I get asked a lot, like across the 3 counties, how many administrators are there, how many teachers are there, and how many support service people are there? And you can see those are the ones that we help. Anytime they need help with our licensure, it all flows through our office. On the back page, I had mentioned professional development, and you can see that we have been very busy this fall, going in inspecting schools. Our office has to physically walk through every building in all 24 school districts every year to make sure that it's safe for the students and for the educators and the families that attend events there. So you can see that we've gotten 31 of those completed already. The first quarter, we're rolling with those. And we typically do like to get them done in the fall. We work with the districts, and as long as the districts are okay with us coming and doing them, we get them scheduled pretty quickly. Sometimes districts are finishing up some maintenance projects or not ready for us right away, and those tend to come in December and January, and we're fine with that. We always want to work with our districts and do it when they're ready for us. And then GEDs had a big month that I'll highlight, or a big 3 months. I will highlight that in my report, that they've been pretty successful in helping some people get their high school equivalency certificate and get on to things that they wanted to do, careers and otherwise. And then we are responsible for bus driver training for our 3 counties. So a little bit on the monthly report that I put in, talked a little bit about our licensure program, and Mary Escamilla is our license expert. She's been with our office forever, and I don't know what I'd do without her. She's phenomenal, and she works very hard and has worked really hard with myself and with my new assistant regional superintendent to make sure we're getting questions answered and getting positions filled. So she's been a big help to Josh and I, as she knows way more than we do at this point, but we're learning as we go, and we make a pretty good team. Professional development, I won't spend a lot of time in. There's our numbers for the month that you can look at. I will highlight in the November report, Regional Center for Change. We knew last year when we were going through the issues with COVID, 2 things. That's kind of what spawned our Nexus program that we've created, because we knew that students and families were struggling with a lot of issues. And we also knew that referrals would be up for alternative school. And we've seen that. We got prepared. We used some of our federal grant money to outfit another classroom, to get computers and desks, and hired another instructor. And I'm glad that we did, because even with that new classroom and new instructor, here we are in November, and we're like 2 students away from being full and having to have a waiting list again. So that just talks about how we've been busy at the Regional Center for Change. And there's a nice story in there. We typically do not get parents to come to our parent-teacher conferences, and we've been working really hard on making that connection with our parents that have their students at our school. And there's a nice story in there how we had some parents come in more than usual for our last round of parent-teacher conferences, and we had some very nice comments from them about how their students are doing better with us than they've done anywhere else. And they're really surprised and supportive of the work that we're doing. And that's awesome. It means a lot to us. The Nexus program, there's some statistics I've got asked, like, so far, how are we doing through August? And you can see with the 12 school districts that we're working with, and we've had a couple of referrals outside the district, that definitely isn't just student issues. You can see that we've worked with 57 families. Of those families, we've had 23 students that do have accommodations for learning disabilities that our counselors have been able to work with and help with, and make the parents understand a little bit about what their student needs. We have worked with 5 families where the students do have some other disability other than a learning disability. They've helped 6 different family members outside of the student themselves that were coping with some substance abuse, and we're able to get them some help and do some things that were just amazing, getting them some referrals and some connections. So you can see that they've been very busy, and they expect to get busier. And there's a sample of some of the agencies that they've been referring families to, and making sure that the families are getting to those appointments, getting the help they need. And then our Parents as Teachers program, one of the things that they're tasked with the early childhood community-based planning for expansion project work that we've been doing, they did a community-wide data analysis on how young students, or before they get to school, what availability do they have for educational services? And there's 2 big reports that came out, and I'm not going to put 24 pages, of course, in a report. There's a link to those if you do want to look at the actual reports. But a summary, what we're concerned about there's a lot of eligible children in the Sauk Valley area who don't have access to high quality early care and education programs. The data that we looked at, there's 1,846 infants and toddlers that are below 185% of the federal poverty level. And there's only slots for 214 of those children in home visiting services currently. So that means that only 11.5% of eligible children are currently getting services. And then for preschoolers, there's 1,889 eligible children below that poverty level, but only 984 are currently enrolled in programs. So that's roughly around 52% of children that are being served. So our task now is to identify where these care and education deserts are and how we can get a hold of some of these young people and families that aren't getting services and see how we can do a better job of supporting them. So it's kind of exciting work that they're doing and be following that. And then I mentioned the education outreach program. For the last 3 months, we've had 15 graduates, and there's a little blurb about our last 3 in October, Jacob, Daniel, and Reagan, that we were able to help get their high school equivalency, and now they're on to doing some careers that they're interested in. So very supportive of that. Happy to take questions about either the quarterly report or the monthly report.
Chris, as in Chris Norberg, I just want to follow up real quick on the Nexus report that you heard Chris Tennyson give in your written report there. The ARPA committee met last Thursday, and this was something that was presented to the ARPA committee for approval and will be moving forward through to finance and ultimately to the full county board this month. Chris Tennyson, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but my understanding is when this program was created, the timing of it was such that school boards didn't have time to budget for it. So what Chris is looking for is to get us off and running for this year. And then after that, the schools are going to assist with the funding of the program going forward. Is that correct, Chris?
Could not have said it any better.
All right. So just wanted to put that on your radar that you'll be seeing Nexus again on the agenda moving forward this next week.
And all the other 2 counties did approve.
Very thankful. What we did is we took that cost that we would need to get through this year. We split it 3 ways, and all 3 counties have approved it through their rescue plan fund. So we're very grateful for that.
So good thing is it should be able to be self-sustaining in the future and go from there. So
Yes, that's our commitment. I think we're going to have a lot more than 12 school districts signed up next year, and we are aggressively pursuing a couple of grants that we think can help fund it for the next 3 years.
perfect. Awesome. Moving on to veterans, we have none above $2,500 for a total of
$1,346.92.
perfect. I need a motion to pay the claims.
I'll
Mr.
second.
Palin, Ms. Allen, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Let me grab Bob. As I give reports, we have no COVID in the county this past in October. So we're doing things right there. Election equipment update.
Thanks, Chris. Just wanted to let the county know that all of my old equipment machines have been disposed of. Actually, they were removed from this building on Friday. A big shout out to the maintenance department. Greg and his staff helped get those machines over to Amboy. And our ETA, hopefully for the new equipment, is going to be December 1st. And just a reminder that once the equipment is delivered here, then we have 30 days to get them a check from the ARPA fund for that. And that's really all I have. Any questions about the equipment?
Nope, I'm glad all the old stuff is gone, so it's not taking up space. Moving on to board rules and procedures. Part of the reason why Bob's in here, and the rules and procedures is back on our desk. Weren't comfortable reducing the committees at this time with the board book coming on and some other stuff, but there is some other stuff that needs to be cleaned up, including help me out.
I got a couple, just point out a couple things. So the first thing is that we are going to change our rules to reflect what the Open Meetings Act says, which would allow individuals to attend remotely if they are either sick themselves, their family is sick, or they're out of town on business. As it exists right now, our board rules say no remote attendance. So this would allow individuals to attend remotely, since we're doing Zoom anyway. In order to do that, though, the rest of the committee, so for example, this committee has to have a physical quorum present. So the rules are also going to request that if you are attending or planning on attending remotely for one of those three reasons, that you do let Becky know so that we can make sure we've got that physical quorum in the room. So that was probably the key change. There is
There's
one
some
other thing.
different things as far as like rules and procedures has always been done by ad service, along with the executive meetings, going through that. It's actually currently in our current handbook says it's supposed to be done by executive, but we're going to switch that over to ad service, which has always seemed to handle it. Did we change the setting of the dates to?
That's the other big one. So the Open Meetings Act allows for you at the beginning of either the fiscal year, which means you would have had to set your dates by December 1, or the beginning of the calendar year, which means you can set your dates for the entire year going forward by January 1st. But once again, our board rules didn't allow for that. Our board rules said you're going to set it before December 1. There was some concerns about that over the years because in December, the first meeting in December every other year is when we have new board members that sit at the table. And it was felt that those board members should have the ability to be able to vote on what the meeting schedule looks like. So our board rules that are moving forward will allow for you to either set it prior to the fiscal year or the calendar year. In other words, just essentially quoting the Open Meetings Act. So yes, that's in there, Chris.
Perfect. So I don't know if we need it, but I'll take a motion and go ahead, Bob.
What about setting a date for the year for ad hoc meetings? Are we going to do that?
If we do that, it's not in the board rules, it's in the meeting date schedule that you would present.
I didn't know if you had to have it in there or not. Okay.
But there is one other thing I will add back to the remote attendance, that now our board rules will allow for per diem to be paid for remote attendance. Again, if you meet one of those three criteria that's allowed in the Open Meetings Act and our board rules, you could get per diem. So that was cleaned up a little bit too. So those are the key provisions.
So it's attending and voting remotely.
It will allow it based off the Open Meetings Act, based off of if the one of the three things. So you can't just be like, well, I'm at home and I don't want to show up.
Right.
And so ideally it would be like, give either Becky, the chairman, or the chairman of the committee, at least a 48-hour notice. So that way we know we have a quorum present. So
Did we put that in there? Like maybe 48?
I think we didn't.
I didn't put a time frame on it, but yeah, that makes sense. Danielle, I'll take a look at it and maybe see if I'll put something in there. This is
That way it's just, I mean,
Clear.
you would think most people would, but
Right.
this way, if somebody did it in 8 hours, what do you say? No, I mean.
And I think there's going to be emergencies that come up and
Absolutely.
happenstance, but the fact, like for myself, if I'm going to be in Peoria for a meeting, I can let you guys know well ahead of time. So
It's not in there, no?
the notification 48 hours in advance. I think there is a provision there that says, please notify, but I don't think there's any timing in there. There's no recommended. Yeah,
yes, it's please.
yes.
So
To go back to Bob's point for just a second on the committees and the subcommittees and the special committees, one of our goals would be to schedule as many as possible when you do set the schedule, because if you don't, if it's considered a special meeting, if you don't have it published at the beginning of the year. The special meeting then needs to be sent to the newspaper for posting. We got to give them, and it's got to be 48 hours in advance, and you got to give the newspaper a day to get it in. And it really does, not only is there a cost associated with it, but there's a lot of administrative time that goes with that. So to Bob's point, I think to those special committees that we see going on for a while, let's take ARPA as an example. We know we're going to be dealing with that for several years. It makes sense to put those on the schedule, post it at the beginning of the year, and have a regularly scheduled meeting so that Becky doesn't have to worry about going to the newspaper and paying the fee and the time that it takes.
So it's usually around $33.20 for each. $33.
Wow.
If it's a Tuesday meeting, you got to let them know by Thursday, correct? Because there's no Monday paper. So you got to take that into play too, so.
So that's messed with a lot of our ability or Becky's ability to be able to schedule some of these meetings because we don't have enough time. So again, the more we can get scheduled, the better off we'll be.
and that kind of leads into, do we need a motion to move that to executive? The rules and procedures? Okay, can I get a motion to move that unless there's any further discussion?
I'll second.
Starkstead, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, that moves us into, we're gonna skip real quick. We're gonna go to the claims committee discussion, and that's the other reason why I wanted Bob here. So, Bob, how much do you currently pay in paid in vacation right now? Anywhere, but it's well over $100,000.
175, 200,000 probably.
Yep, so that's paid in vacation. So for everybody who doesn't understand that, that's just,
But you need to explain what paid in vacation
yeah, and
is.
that's, so paid in vacation is if it doesn't get paid in our normal claims process, but needs to be paid at a different time, Bob has the ability to sign off on certain expenses. And he's approving more than we in 1 month in paid in vacation, him just looking at it himself, than we are as an entire committee looking at 6 different committees reporting to us. Now, mind you, I understand we have low fund committees here relative to like the sheriff's department or other committees, but kind of came to us that you want some more oversight, not that.
Yeah, I don't think you just want the chair doing that. I think it needs to be some kind of claims committee or something, approve them. You'll always have something that's got to be paid immediately or something, and I understand that, but there's just a lot of stuff coming through there that needs to be looked at.
So the idea was putting together like a subcommittee. So keeping the claims process the same way as it is today, as it goes through. But say 2 weeks from this week, we'd automatically have a claims committee of a 3-person committee that would meet to be able to come together and look through the claims. It's going to be a lot of claims. There's going to be a lot of just that way. It's more than one set of eyes looking at it. It'll be 3 people. And my other envision, it would be a 3-person committee with three alternates. So we name 3 people and your alternate is directly related to you. So Bill, if you were on it, your alternate would be Mr. Horseman. So if you can't make it that day, you contact Mr. Horseman. Mr. Strogstead would have so on and so forth. So that way you didn't feel obligated to make it, or if you're just like, man, I need to find somebody else. Your
Split
first
it.
person would be to be able to
Split
go
it
with
up
that.
with your co-part too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's another meeting. It's not going to be a fun, glorious meeting in my mind. Like, I'm like, don't put my name on it. I got enough other stuff going on. But I think it does need to be addressed, and wanted your guys' thoughts on that.
I'll just add another quick thing from the staff perspective. What happens throughout the month outside of this claims process that you just went through is that individual invoices or bills will come forward. They need to be paid for whatever reason, sooner rather than later. They can't wait until you guys meet again. So that what ends up happening is Bob ends up individually signing off on them, reviewing them and signing off on them. Then they individually go to the clerk's office and then the treasurer's office for processing. By having a claims committee, a process that, meets a second time in the month, we're going to streamline that. And 99% of the claims, we believe, will actually be able to be processed in a second batch, as opposed to staff having to deal with them one at a time as they come across the plate. So that's the other reason we're really interested in doing some sort of a claims committee. Of course, you've been hearing me say we're talking about claims, revising the claims process and the way that you actually look at them. We'll be working, if the board generally agrees in the concept of a claims committee, we'll be looking at then incorporating them into our streamlined process for what they look at, what reports we prepare for them versus what reports you all look at as a committee. Anyway, there's motivation on both sides of this table, not only for having 3 board members look at this, but also streamlining the staff perspective and being able to have them do that in batches instead of one at a time.
I think with our new program, the board book, and we get in Excel, I think it'd be a very simple process. We just need more sets of eyes to look at it.
Yeah, thank you. And I think most of you know, now I collect the internet, some other, what they call dark fiber and phone charges. Those are regular budgeted items. But the invoices don't usually come in until November 5th or 6th. So it's kind of something like I just got one right now. I mean, as you guys are talking, and it's due in 30 days, and so unless we have a process to take care of it, it's already been budgeted, it's not unusual, and it's a monthly charge. And if we could come up with something to streamline at least, some of those simpler ones, that would be great. Thank you.
I think it's a great idea. Do you envision that this claims committee could work to also do some of the streamlining, right? Have consistent forms that everybody's filling out or consistent processes.
Well, actually,
Or you're already doing that?
yes.
They're already working through. some of
So
that.
the existing accounts payable system that we have has a module on it that would help us with that. So what we're looking at is taking it a step even further than consistent forms. We are looking at, and this is on the agenda, by the way, for the department head meeting it's coming up in the next couple of weeks, because we of course need to have some feedback from them as well. But we're looking at having the department heads, instead of typing up all these forms that you all get and everybody has their own form, we're looking at this module allowing the staff for the various departments to actually data enter in the claim directly into the software program. The software program has multiple levels, as many as you want, levels of authority. So a claim that's for a fund that, let's just say, the county treasurer has total control over some of her funds, that is the elected officials' control, then the authority for that claim can be set up in the system that it's just the treasurer who signs off on that. So we have the ability to set up varying levels of authority. Back to Chris's original concept here, you could set it up that the department head could approve all of those, like the telephone bill claims that come through every month that are budgeted and within the budget. You might have the administrator take claims between whatever, 1,000 and 10,000 and sign off on those. Our vision is still, by the way, that you as a board would still see the reports, but it's going to be a report coming out of the software system, not an individually typed or printed form that every department has that looks a little bit different. So it would be a consistent report. We're pretty excited about it. Well, I'm pretty excited. I don't know about anybody else.
I definitely am. I
Yeah.
can tell you that.
Yeah.
I am.
So are we okay supporting the idea of a claims committee that meets the week after county board? I think that would give you a 2 weeks window. It'd give you committee week, and then the week after county board would be, so it'd be almost every 2 weeks we'd be able to pay claims.
So my concern is if you have something that's due before the 15th and the committee doesn't meet before then we miss that
Then
first
then
payment.
there's always going to be the opportunity to go through the chairman. They're still going to have that opportunity, but this, we know we'll never get 100% of the claims paid in a perfect fashion. It's just the world that we live in. But if we can clean up, we can take your 175,000 down to 20,000. I'll count that as a win greatly. So I believe that, I think this committee anyways will support a claims committee that if we're going to do it, we might as well put it on our meeting schedule, because it's going to be something that meets every single month.
So then, I guess, so the schedule that you have right now is the second full week, which would be committee week every month. So if we do that, we're missing the first round of anything that's due by the 15th. Right?
No, because your committee week, this week would handle anything that's paid the 15th.
Right, but the dates don't coincide, do they?
No.
Aren't we past the 15th?
So
No,
the committees are.
no, you're only, like, I took ad service. It's the 13th, 10th, 14th, 14th, 11th, 9th, 13th, 11th, 15th, 12th, 11th, and 14th of the month.
So
Okay, but if it's got to be paid by the 15th, we've
Well,
only got.
can
So I
I
guess
inter-
that's my concern.
let's not get buried in the weeds here too much. If it's due by the 15th, you definitely got an invoice probably 30 days prior. So you're either going to hit the committee week or you're going to hit one of the other ones. I think too much we get buried in this. Oh my God, it's due. I got to have it paid. Other than a banking or, with our bond issue, most vendors are going to work with a county government or any government. And if you're a couple of days or a week late, they're fine with that. I mean, I can speak from experience working for a large company. 80% of it was with governments. We never charged a late fee. We worked with the government. So don't get too buried down in dates and, oh my God, I got to have it paid this day. I think with a 2-week time period, you're gonna find that you'll cover most of your bills.
Can I say something? I don't know if you realize this or not, but the claims don't get approved until county board. And then it's the next day that my office puts that stack of bills in the mail. So there's a little
So I can address that, Nancy. Nancy and Paula and I are going to be meeting next week, is it? I don't remember. So the statute allows the county board to delegate that authority to a claims committee, or in some cases to the administrator, depending upon your wishes. You would have to have a resolution that says, yeah, we give the claims committee the authority to go ahead and approve these so that they can be paid. Again, our vision is at the end of the month, you're still going to see the total claims that got paid. We're just not going to hold up the check, for the entire month to get them out there. So Nancy, that's one of the things we were going to talk about at the meeting is that statutorily there, you can delegate your authority, but you have to do it by resolution or ordinance and make that formalized.
Right, because it kind of goes back to what Paul is saying is he gets that bill, but like I said, if he waited till the next month to put it through committee, that check's not going out till almost the end of the month.
And just to that, I think Wendy's pulling together the right people to take a look at this. And I think the general idea of having a second pass or an opportunity to pay those bills is probably the right way to go. Maintaining the pay on vacation, as long as the goal is to drive that amount down.
And again, to have staff doing things in a more efficient way instead of doing one at a time.
I think the best thing to do is approve the claims committee and let us work on the timing and.
So we don't have anything to approve it. So this committee is going to support the claims committee. I think it makes a lot of sense and we'll go from there. So, and I think it just needs to get on the calendar, the date. So that's all I have for you.
Well, I just got one quick question, Paul. Paul's still there. Did you ever decide on what electronic device we're going to
Talk
use?
about it. Could have
Okay.
been here. Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
Moving on to committee meeting dates and calendars. The committee weeks are all pretty well set. There's not really a whole lot of discussion there. You want to tell me, Becky, what you did? It's the second full week of when's committee weeks? It's the second full week of every month.
Correct.
So there's a little bit of tweaking. It used to be the second, like this meeting's always on Monday. I forget.
Right. So
So it
what,
used to be the second Monday. Now it's going to be the second full Monday of the month.
right. Because what we run up against is people complaining about the claim. So the committee week was too close to the first week. So what we did is we made it the second full week. So there's no way that it can be that first week. So that's why we did that, is because they're saying, well, we can't get our claims in on time because we don't have them. And so that's the reasoning behind this second full week.
And then the claims idea, a concept came up after this as we were discussing through all these problems. So,
So the great thing about where it's proposed is we've only got one date in October that has to be moved. So everything's pretty consistent for the year. So I'll entertain a motion to move the committee dates and calendar with the executive with the claims committee added to it. Does that make sense?
Sure. So the motion is to add the claims committee to it.
And move the
And
whole
pass
thing.
to
Mr.
executive.
Strugstead first,
I'll push it.
I'll second.
Alan, all those in favor of moving this?
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? Now talking about county board meeting dates, Mr. Palin brought it to my attention that he'd like to see it going back to a split during the winter time. Currently we have it where it's all evening meetings, 6 p.m. And so you've got two different ones in front of you where in November, December, January, and February, as well as March, you would look at a 9 a.m. meeting. And then April, May, June, July, August, September, October, you would look at a 6 p.m. meeting. No matter how you skin this cat, we've got November and December that fall this upcoming year with Thanksgiving and Christmas. So those dates do have to be adjusted accordingly. I like you guys, not enough to come see you on Thanksgiving. But so those are the two different proposals that you have in front of you, unless somebody has a different way they want to go about it. So
And just for the record too, that I did send this past Nancy too before I presented it. So
perfect.
I don't want to speak for her, but
It did go to Nancy, so she was able to look at it.
This could be tweaked down to having,
Can you talk in your mic?
pardon me, having March as an evening meeting, because actually, first part of March goes into daylight saving time, first Sunday.
Okay.
March is into daylight saving time. So we've got, right now, we would have December, January, and February, 3 months.
And
Where we
November.
meet at 9 o'clock.
And November.
Right.
And I like the evening meetings. I think they flow very, very smoothly. I know from my personal standpoint of it's already hard enough to get here for the 500 different committees I feel like I serve on as it is. That adding another 9 a.m. meeting just seems to be a lot. And I think we've had good success. I understand the concern with the poor weather and people traveling, but
There's a lot of people that do a lot of traveling in the dark that way.
yeah, and so I look at you, Miss Allen, who's by far one of the farthest people who has to travel, is traveling at night in the winters. Are you as concerned by that, or especially if we get the Zoom thing figured out now all of a sudden?
Right.
I think that opens up a whole nother area of possibility, so.
So for me, it's more about my daytime paying job
Yep.
that I already miss, right? Which is fine, and they're flexible. They're very glad that I wanted to support publicly, right? Or that I want to serve publicly. And that's the choice I make. But for me, I'm already missing, like today, I should be at work. I'm here. So adding another 9 a.m. just is more time for me to be away from my job. And I think makes some people not serve in the public, right? Because you feel like you have to choose between having a job and serving. So for me, I like the nighttime because then I don't have to choose between my job and being here. So, but I'm open to whatever works best for the majority.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever with Zoom now. Maybe, you know, if the weather's bad, you can Zoom and do it too, but I like Mr. Palin's idea too, with daylight savings time, so.
I got on when it was all nights, and just kind of having conversation with a couple of senior board members. They commented that they liked the nights. It just seemed like it was quicker. It seemed like it went faster.
Much quicker than
And he
this.
says it seems like, you know, during the daytime, it's like they had a lot of breaks. And how do you do breaks? But maybe at night we want to get done and get home.
Yeah, I remember those day meetings that we'd take a break to have some milk and cookies halfway through.
I didn't want to say milk and cookies, but that was mentioned also.
But it was literally milk and cookies. So I'm a night guy. And as it just fits into the people who want to continue to work schedule, but I'll entertain a motion for whichever one this committee wants to put forth. So.
Well, I'd like to move for my proposal. We're talking about four at 9 o'clock and the rest at 6.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second it, because just so we can, you know, discuss it, vote it.
Yeah, like I said, I'm an evening guy, so that's where I'm going to continue to fight. So do you want to do a roll call vote on this?
Sure.
So what we're voting on is split meetings right now.
But I didn't
We're
understand.
voting on the split meeting, half
Right.
during, or 4 during the morning and the additional 8 at night.
Okay.
How does this vote then seals it, or does it go to in front of the county board?
It will
to
go in
dis-
front of the county board for discussion.
For
So
discussion later on. Okay, so another committee could bring this up, put it in front of the board also.
this committee will bring it up, but it'll be discussed at the county board. I remember last time they came with them all mornings and all half night, half day, and I ended up making a motion to make it all nights, and that's where it ended up.
So
So
this is just a recommendation.
this is just a
This is
recommendation.
a recommendation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll call.
Chris Norberg,
No.
Danielle Allen,
No,
Bill Palin,
Yes.
Jim is not here. Jack Scrogstad,
No,
Nancy Nealon. Okay, so it passes 4-1,
What's that? It does not pass.
or did not pass, sorry.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now somebody want to make a recommendation on the all evenings?
I'll make a motion for all evenings.
And second, roll call vote. Okay.
All evening. Okay, Chris Norberg,
Yes.
Danielle Allen,
Yes.
Bill Palin,
Yes.
Sorry, Bill.
Dax Krogstad,
Yes.
and Nancy Naylor.
Yes.
Thank you.
I believe we got through everything. I have no executive that you need. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion.
Alan,
Second.
Naylor, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Have a great week, ladies and gentlemen.
will be
I
here
almost
for
wanted to say
executive.
no, just.
I blocked it out.
We'll give you a ride, Bill.